Hey y'all, this is going to be another talkie video with me being on screen, not just my hands and my hideous as hell nails. This is a VR to Becca. Becca's Home and Tarot. I love her channel. I really do. She's one of the most sincerest tarot people I've ever met. Like, honestly, well, I've never met her. I don't even know if she's aware of me and of who I am. I just love the genuinity with which she does her shit. Like, she's probably one of the most genuine people on here. She did this whole tarot deck culling video, which really inspired me to do something similar. Not as much though. Didn't sell as many as her. However, I did get rid of a lot of decks that were just cluttering up my space. And you know, going through all those decks kind of made me realize that I have so many cool decks that I do like and do like using, but that I just sort of started forgetting or felt like I had used them too much already, you know, because this whole tarot Instagram thing is very focused on deck collecting. What's the next big thing? I need this deck. What's that deck? You know, and that was really cute when I started around 3 years ago. Before that, I only knew about Rider-Waite-Smith, and before that, I only knew about Marseille, because that's the first deck my mom gave to me when I was 15. That was a steep learning curve. So yeah, and you know, she did this little video, decks that you're excited to work with in 2022, and I have a little pile down here. Martin responded to her, like top 10 decks so far, and some of these I acquired at the end of 2021, beginning of 2022. Some of these I've had for ages. Some of them just got lost in the rubble, and I'm kind of rediscovering them. So yeah, let's start with a pretty much a new one that is not new to most people, but it's pretty new to me, and it's the Vision of the Muse Oracle deck. Now, there's a Vision of the Muse tarot. I didn't want to get the tarot because, you know, I already have too many tarot decks as is. I don't really need that many tarot decks. So I decided I wanted to get the Oracle deck, and this is on a gorgeous cardstock, and it has a matte gilding, the matte sparkly gilding that is really good quality and that is going to last a while. And it's a pretty bare bones Oracle deck. You get a collage image and then you get a keyword. The backs are fabulous, by the way. And I really love this artist's work. I think it's really gorgeous, really raw. This is all handmade collage. This is not digitally enhanced. The font that was used is so scrumptious. It looks so good. The keywords are so good. Clarity, this one says. Pause. And this is exactly the type of Oracle deck that I like. There's a lot of rose images in here as well. Courage. I like good keywords that spark my intuition. I got this around Christmas, and it was quite a hectic time, especially considering the remodeling of the house. So I never really did a deep dive into this. This is gorgeous. This is the Muse card, which is also on the front of the box, I think. Let me see. Yes, it is. And this deck is actually by Alejandra Leon. Curiosity. I really love all the rose imagery. I was thinking about buying the the Rose Oracle by Rebecca Campbell. But I'm not, because this satisfies all my rose needs. Perception, really interesting, really cool. So this deck has a lot of cards with really good keywords. It's on a really nice, it's on my favorite cardstock. It's that, that semi-matte, but still pretty matte cardstock that Blue Angel uses as well. It's my dream cardstock, honestly. Meditation, cycles. Ooh, I like this. I like this a lot. So I don't really know. Maybe we should just dive into that together. If the guidebook goes into the imagery that was chosen for these cards, or if it was just a very holistic, free flow process, and it's kind of up to you as a reader to kind of you know, use that keyword, but then also discern extra meaning from those collages. So let's just randomly pull a card and see what happens, because I think that's super interesting. And once again, the tactile experience of this deck is just scrumptious. So we get this card right here, feeling, and there's a lot to see because we see this womanly figure right there. It's kind of the pelvic area, the belly, kind of that gut, and then we get these flowers sprouting from the place where the torso should kind of begin, and then we get this red moon. So let's check the guidebook and see what she says, because I think this is really cool. The guidebook is, by the way, in alphabetical order, which is really, really good. Feeling. Your emotions and your senses may be speaking to you. Tune into your body and connect within. Feeling, not thinking, is a way toward inner knowing. Access your intuition. Allow emotions to come through. Flow like water. Define your feelings. Okay, so she doesn't really go in depth into the why of the artwork, but I don't think it's necessary. And I do really jive well with this deck. I mean, look at that image. I think it's really cool. I think it's really unique. I think it's really raw, especially in this day and age of, you know, all decks being photoshopped all the time. You know, I do love me some of that, but there's something very raw and evocative when it comes to this, you know, this hand collaged art. I think it's really special. I know not a lot of people are into that, but yeah, a deck that I recently found again. I mean, was it ever really lost? No, it was always in the back of my mind, but I hadn't used it a lot, and I'm already opening up boxes. Whoops. It's the Star Temple Oracle by Susie Cherub. Now, I'm frequently in touch with her. She's a great person, honestly. Very supportive, very nice. She worked on this deck with Lila Savoilanen, who primarily does photos. But she's a really good digital artist. Like, I really jive with her art. I love it. And they're coming out with another deck together soon. I believe it's June, called the Water Temple. Now, what I like about Susie is the way she, because she very clearly is an author of decks. She's also very open and upfront about who she works together with to create this Oracle deck. It says it clearly on the box, yeah. And yeah, this is a deck about the Pleiadians, but not in the sci-fi sense of the word, but more in the Greek mythology sense of the word, which I like. There's suits, there's sort of a system, there's lots of information in the guidebook. Susie does her research, you know, and in those guidebook paragraphs, she truly gives you a wealth of information. She really does. So I feel like, you know, there's in this little guidebook right here. There's so much information there. And yeah, it's really cool. And I bought it primarily because there was some artwork in here that I really liked. And then this opened up a whole world to me. I do a reading on my Etsy where I exclusively use this deck, and that used to be my best seller. But lately, not a lot of people have been getting that one, which kind of is a shame because this deck is really good. My favorite card. The Atlas card. Now, why I like this deck, even though it is very Divine Feminine centered, Susie always sneaks in some sexy menses in her decks. So you basically get really good content that is based on something rather than just it being completely intuitive, which I also like sometimes, but you know, it's always, I get a kick out of seeing an author work hard and working in co-creation with an artist. And I feel like that with this deck in particular, that was definitely the case. The deck is very body beautiful, and I have no problems with that at all. The deck is very mixed when it comes to race, when it comes to age, when it comes to gender. Like I said, one of the more Divine Feminine style decks that has a lot of masculine energies in here as well. And I just adore Lila's artwork. This is probably one of my favorite mass market Oracle decks ever. And this is definitely one of the 10 that I want to be working with more. I'm actually going to put all of these in a basket later so I don't forget about them again. The card backs are divine. I just really like it. So let me just quickly show you. Oh, this card is really cute as well. The little star. So it's, yeah, let me show you right here. So you get card number 24, the little star. Then you get a keyword, divine. And then you get an affirmation. My inner child is whole and complete. So where some mass market Oracle decks can be very much about lack, like, hey, you're lacking something, or lacking this, lacking that, you need to fix this, you need to manifest that. This is not about that at all. This is very wholesome content. Copyist the seer, a visionary. I chart the stars, signs, and symbols to craft magic. So this is very, very good work. Also, would love to work with Lila on a deck at some point because it's really good. Her art is so scrumptious. Ooh, another one that I've actually already kind of worked with and that I really liked. I'm going to be kicking the cards out because it's kind of a hassle, because it is in a tuck box. This is a deck that came in all the way from the Ukraine, from a company that got a lot of flack. This is the Regal Shadows Tarot by Dark Cinevere. Now, this deck, even when I used it on my page the other week, the illustrator came onto my page and was like, thank you for using the deck. I hope the war is going to be over soon. Man, I really feel for those people. This is a really cool, very non-traditional tarot deck, even though the art does look very traditional. It's very monochromatic. It has that vintagey feel. The minors are all very interesting, where we kind of get, no, this is not a good example because, yeah, this is better. Oh, actually, did I miss that? Oh, wait, hold up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. No, it's just a coincidence. So for the minors, you get the number at the top of the card and the suit symbol, as you can see, but then you get some sort of animal or mythical beast at the bottom. Let me show you, like, for the 10 of Swords, we kind of get this harpy. So the Little White Book doesn't explain any of this. So this is my only gripe with some of Dark Cinevere's decks. The Little White Books are weird. Because I'm sure the artist has incorporated a shit ton of meaning into this deck, but they let the Little White Book be written by someone else, which kind of sucks. We get the Moon. Their decks are definitely, we get Justice. Look at that. Their decks are definitely not created for beginners at all. You need to have some knowledge of the jarrow when you want to work with these decks by them. Some of their decks are downright nonsensical. I feel like this is very readable, and I really enjoy this art style. Honestly, if Uzi would have taken this art, ran with it, and done a Kickstarter, this probably would be the hottest deck on the market right now. It has that very classical Uzi Supra Oracle feel, if you get what I'm saying. I really, really, really enjoy this a lot. I enjoy the minors as well as the majors. I think it's really special. It has a really, really dope. This looks like, and I get that with a lot of Dark Cinevere's decks. This deck looks like you would, look at the world. I like that a lot. The decks look like, if I were to inherit some famous occultists collection of tools, I feel like this would be a deck that I would find somewhere in the back of a cupboard covered in dust. Very, very, it has a very occult look to it. And I really, really like that a lot. Now, the Little White Book is what it is. It is a Little White Book. Doesn't really say anything at all about, the meanings are off very often as well, like very untraditional. I feel like what they try to do very often is kind of create this, with each deck they try to create their like own system, and I feel like they should probably not do that. But like, I could throw the Little White Book away, but I'm not gonna, because I want to keep it complete. But this is one that I really like, that I'm really enthusiastic about, that photographs really well. I can take really gorgeous pictures for my Instagram with it. It's easy, it's a light, it's really thin but good cardstock, the type that shuffles perfectly, and this would be one that I would take with me for live client readings, because it's light. You can just pop it in your bag, you won't even feel the weight. Okay, another deck that I think is really cool that I got recently is the Sacred Sea Oracle by Justine Cerebrin. This is by Rockpool Publishing, and this is a dope deck, y'all. I feel like this art, I've seen the way she creates this and how intuitive and free-flowing she works. This is really, really cool. So, this is a completely channeled deck. And normally I'm not into that, but with this, I'm a total earth and water baby. I love the earth, I love the water. And this is all about, that secret world below the surface of the sea, and it has really cool zany art. It has really interesting keywords at the bottom of the cards. Some of them really make sense. Some of them require you to do some digging. I think this is just gorgeous. I mean, look at that algae medicine mother. Really, really cool. The guidebook is insane. This is my favorite card, the Visionary Sea Queen Potent Projections. I think this is just it, and I really hope this becomes a hot seller for Rockpool. The cardstock, they have this new matte cardstock, which is not my ideal dream cardstock, but you know, it is a million times better than the cardstock they used to have, even though that was fine as well. But you know, they really up. Honestly, they are the most interesting publisher in the game right now. So, and their decks are like super affordable. Like, if you want some indie looking decks for a good price, check out Rockpool's decks because they have some really cool looking decks. Now, another one that might surprise y'all, the Star Spinner Jarrow. I bought this deck right when it came out, or they had, well, I wish I had. I wish I had the chance to, but they did have some difficulties getting this over to Europe. And, you know, I loved it. And then after a while, I was kind of like, something's off here. And that mainly had to do with the minors, because where the majors are very elaborately illustrated and kind of have that classical anime style, the minors kind of depart from that a little, where it's more harsh lines, more sparse. Gotta find a minor now. Now I can't find a minor. Some of the minors are very sparse and have a lot, especially in the wands, have a lot of empty space and a lot of really thick, harsh lines. So that I kind of expected more from that, even though they are fully illustrated. Some of the minors just rub me the wrong way, especially the suit of wands. Like, for example, this one, if they would have zoomed in a little bit more on that little boy fairy and a little bit less of this negative space up top, I would have liked it a lot better. But, you know, recently I've kind of fallen in love with it all over again, and I used it today for my daily pull. And it is actually really cute. This is probably my favorite death card ever. I adore this with the little cherub baby. I think this is really cool. The cardstock, I haven't used this that much, and it's completely bent. But you know, I've decided not to care about that. I've decided that in 2022, I'm gonna love this deck a little bit more. You know, and since I've acquired so many decks over the last few years, I'm just gonna treat it like my personal little deck shop. The next one, because I know this video is already very long, but you know what? This is just me having some fun, and I don't really care. You can watch this at double speed if it's too slow for you. Is the deck for Wonder Walking, which is one that I haven't used in a while. It comes in this gorgeous, gorgeous magnetic clasp box. I feel like this is one of the first decks that did that. It's really high quality, really soft, buttery cardstock that has a really interesting soft touch finish that is not quite rose petal, not quite matte. It's very buttery. All these cards are horizontal and are very much these ink blot landscapes that sometimes have very concrete imagery on there. Sometimes you kind of have to scry for things, and the keywords are really, really interesting, really, really provocative, really good vocabulary, which I like. For example, a keyword like naivete is really interesting. This deck wasn't necessarily created for divination, although I do use it for that mostly, but was more or less created, look at that, listen. It was created for you to pull some cards to kind of give yourself some assignments while you go on a sort of a meditative walk through nature. So this is really cool. I don't mind the landscape thing at all. In fact, I think it's cute as hell. It's probably one of the prettiest decks I own. I feel like this is really good. It's gorgeous. I love this watercolor art. I love that I can see new different things in the cards every time I see them. There's always something hidden in there. Sometimes it looks a little bit weird. Sometimes it looks like an octopus. You know, like it's just gorgeous. Keywords like fog, all these nature-based keywords I can really work with. Disruption, like this may look soft and shit, but this has so much in it. This is one of my favorite cards. What is it? Let me see really quickly. Discernment, yeah. Look at that. Absolutely stunning. Notice. Oh man, you know, like this is the kind of keywords that I jive well with, and the kind of art that just makes my fans go whoop. It comes with this really cute little fold-out pamphlet that gives you more than enough information. I think it is a stunning deck. I feel like it doesn't get enough recognition, as with most indie Oracle decks, because, you know, it's all that tarot. Tarot is awesome. Well, you know what? Sometimes I'm kind of fucking bored with tarot, and I want to read Oracle cards. Another one that I rediscovered a while back was this one, the Luminous Void. This was my first indie tarot deck, and this one's weird. It's oval shaped, like that, shaped after old playing cards, and the illustrations are also, once again, this would pair well with that Wonder Walking deck, actually, because this is also very weird watercolory art. It is very traditional Rider-Waite-Smith. When I got this in, I wasn't quite ready for it, but now I'm kind of like, yeah, this, you know, if you're into weird shit, this would be a great beginner's deck, honestly. Like, it's really good. I think the creator is coming out with a new deck that's going to be released mass market. It's going to be round. I feel like this deck is stunning, gorgeous. Even though it's really, really weird, I adore it. And I want to work with this more, because this is really interesting. Like, I really, really feel like, even with all the decks coming out in this day and age, that in 30 years' time, this will be considered this will be a much hunted after deck. I really feel like that's what this is going to be. So yeah, the Luminous Void, really, 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 really cool. Really, really interesting. Stuff like this really reignites my my passion for tarot. So yeah. Another one that I acquired quite recently, even though I've had the Shadow version for the longest time, because the Shadow version I got together with the Luminous Void, it's actually right over there, is, whoops, I gotta show these boxes to y'all, sorry. It's the Threads of Fate Oracle Deck First Edition. Now, I was able to get this secondhand from someone for a steal, so I couldn't say no to it. Even though it feels kind of wasteful to have two of the same deck, but there's so much different artwork in here. This is one of my favorite decks. Some of my friends hate it because they feel like it's purely aesthetic. It's not. It's a really good tool. It's worth the money you're gonna spend for it. There's also, sometimes you will find secondhand copies of people that, you know, didn't jive well with it and want to sell it. So, you know, just keep your eyes peeled. They will have sales on their website for dented boxes. It has really good keywords. It has a really good guidebook. You can read it straight out of the box if you're kind of familiar with tarot already. You can kind of, because there are tarot elements incorporated into this. You can read it straight out of the box. If not, you have a fabulous guidebook to work with. So I really like this. Oh yeah, the Paradox card. That's really cool. The fun thing is some of these cards feature humans now, because there's kind of this Star Child Tarot-esque photography in the back, which I really like. This card was changed completely in the newer editions, and I really dig this old artwork. So I'm not going to be showing you all of that, but, you know, like, working with decks that you actually really like, it's so fucking cool and refreshing. You know, like, I know we all want to see, you know, that next cool deck, but, you know, I just have... And I recently, like, got this edition, and it's so totally reignited my love for it. That was already pretty big. Another one that I recently kind of rediscovered when I did a live with Martin about animal decks was this one, the White Sage Tarot. This was in my bag for the biggest part of 2019, 2020, I think. I have some more of these tarot decks in a tin. This is hands down one of my favorites, because it's very pippish, and I love a good pip. The artwork is so muted and pastel that it's probably not going to show up on camera, not the lighter cards, but, you know, this is very much a nature-based animal deck with chakra color coding interlining the minor arcana cards. So if you do have some chakra knowledge, that may come in handy. You can also kind of, if you do a bigger spread, you can kind of see patterns. And then for the majors and the quartz, we get all these luscious watercolor animal illustrations that I just adore. I feel like this is really cute. As of now, you can only get the small tin edition. The regular sized edition was indie only, but I'm completely fine with that. I think this is a stunning deck. There's really interesting nods to certain mythologies in here. Let's see if I can find my absolute favorite card, because I want to, and it's probably going to be at the back of the deck, as usual, because my favorite card is the Wheel of Fortune. Don't know if I can find that. It's definitely going to be, yeah, it was like at the back, at the literal back of the deck. This Wheel of Fortune card is everything. So, yeah, I feel like this is a really cool deck. And I just love, I don't know why. I know that it's weird. I know I'm one of the only ones. But the way I read, which is very numerology based, I like seeing pips. You know? I don't need, like, the majors and the quartz already have enough going on. I don't need to see all these illustrations. I do like a good illustration, but I like pips more. Can't help it. And the final deck that I'm really excited about is a shameless plug. It's my own. I've been playing with this so much over the last few weeks. I feel like this is my best deck yet. I feel like it's really easy to use, fun, yet still has depth to it. I really dig the illustrations. I dig the colors. I dig the intensity of it. I dig the action-oriented aspect. I'm in talks with a publisher now. I hope they say yes. And if not, that's fine. Then I'm just gonna do a Kickstarter for it. I just feel like this is the favorite tool that I've ever made. And yeah, I'm gonna be working with this a lot because there's so many layers to it. You know, and now that you've kind of seen decks that I like to work with, or new decks that I got, or decks that I got maybe end of 2021, which have been like my favorites of 2022, stuff like that. You kind of see that I like stuff that appears kind of simple on the first try, and then and then kind of evolves into something more difficult over time. This has been way too long already, but I really felt like sitting down, playing with the cards, chatting with y'all. I feel like that's a lot of fun. And I hope I showed you some cool stuff that, you may not have seen before on other channels, and that may, like, inspire you to, learn and grow as a diviner. So, thank you very much, and bye-bye. Love y'all.